my guest is in the studio. Imagine I drink about this performance because na year kasa enyum ne sha sa no twene nwa no sha as do rehwe odwene my attention anko. Ne na attention akodo pa. Mr. Mettle.
Yes.
Akwaba.
Ah, yenya. Bibi aboko.
Nyaminado. But small boy in the performance no. Who then ocho attention pa?
Oh, yeah, it was good. The guy, I mean, this was even old. I think I've seen them. I saw them on one of the reality shows. This was in Kenya, I guess, but there was one. They probably went to the UK. So because now they are slightly older than they used to be.
Okay. Okay.
And he's held it on till now. So
he's done well, eh?
He's done great.
Mr. Mettle.
Yeah.
Kadosh. Where do I cry?
Ah, one time cry.
Much and I cry is not. So you've done Takade, you've done Koforidia, you've done Kumasi.
Yeah.
Now you're doing Accra.
Yes.
After Accra, you're going.
A few other. I think we're still working on it, but I know that there's one supposed to be in Canada and another supposed to be in the UK and a few other places. Okay. So we're still in the planning stages as well. And some of those places are not like the fact that you live here. A lot more goes into it than this side. So we're still trusting God.
We're still trusting God. It's 10 years. And as part of the 10-year celebration, now essay, you are not only doing it in Accra, as your core,
other regions,
places. Yeah. But then, at least I was in Koforidia. I wanted to come to Kumasi, but not time or no, number affect my Monday morning show. Mamba no. But then at Zokra, with the menu there, after Takrade, which was the first one, in Koforidia did more there advertiser sponsors, major sponsors to be Wado Mehu. When you went to Kumasi, me who the major sponsors be aba crash so me who nti when almost Canada.
I just trust God and keep going. But you see, in addition to that, once in a while there are a few people who bear me up, sometimes. Okay. So I have this little, just take and top it up, add it to your fund, or something. See, I have a few individuals once in a while that helps, but majority of the funding will have to come from me. And I'll just have to trust God that I will be able to raise it, that's all.
And after selling tickets, do you break even?
Oh no, nobody breaks even with tickets. Unless you are doing like a huge thousands, probably a few 20, 30,000, sometimes there are tickets, but nobody breaks even with tickets.
So why don't you keep doing it?
Because it goes beyond just an event for me. It's the whole experience is what God has asked me to do, and that's why I do it. So, I mean, what was it?
You're
Somebody was like,
God.
with all that's happening, you don't look stressed, and I'm like, am I supposed to be?
Not for stress. You don't look stressed at all.
The point is, what can you do? You do what your strength can do, and trust God for what. Because there are things, like I always say, there are things God have given you the grace to do, so you have to do them. The rest, you leave it for Him to do. He always does it. It's different when you didn't do anything about it. You won't say, like Evan said, with respect to trying to seek for the sponsorship, going to companies, if you didn't do it, then you had a part to play and you didn't. But we did.
You looked for the sponsors.
Oh, we started working on sponsorship. In fact, some of the people, we even started talking to them before we took proposals. So we started talking about it last year with them. And then the ones that give us like, no, let's do it. And then we sent it to them this year, early this year. Some of them went to meetings, upon meetings. There's a team that handles that. But there were even one or two of the meetings they asked that I come.
You come.
I did, and all that. Some we were almost done with, but then it still fell on the ground. But there's a lot going on everywhere else. So
why do you think that these corporate bodies some way somehow shy away from gospel events?
I wouldn't know. I mean, when we get to learn about it, we'll share, but I wouldn't know. 1, 2. Some also said the year is not the best of years for them as a company. They would have loved to, but they couldn't. No. Maybe 1 or 2 of them that we spoke to probably also said, oh, if we had come last year, it would have helped,
It would
you know,
have
but
helped.
it was a bit late for them. The rest, I don't know why, but it
Is
happens.
it? Are you guys not doing something right?
We wouldn't know.
Because in as much as they are saying that it's not a good year, if there should be an event that has secular artists on board, they will do it.
I don't know. Maybe it might be the company's policy not
to do gospel.
So those kind of things, like I'm saying, you wouldn't know why. The only one that can answer are the companies. They can tell you, okay, maybe we didn't do it based on ABC, or we didn't do it. You know, some too have signed certain deals with certain companies or production houses for a number of
years.
See, I feel that they already have their deal with them.
Okay.
You know, so, but like I said, if it comes, it would help, but it's not coming also will not stop us from what we have to do. That's the whole point.
The gospel phone, so I know why you pick you.
In terms of companies you work with.
I've been a done soliciting, don't say $7,000 a year, what can then? Betting endorsement on ye. Maybe I know why you pick you so come
Oh, sir, in addition to you being a musician, you're also a minister of God. Everything you see, sponsorship is endorsement. So anything you take, you've endorsed.
You've endorsed.
So it's just as simple as that.
So
if you can't
endorse, it goes against
it goes against your teachings, and your beliefs as a Christian and morals.
NG.
Definitely, you can't take
NG
it.
cry.
No.
Don't be the $500,000 by NG.
From
betting company NG.
No, mean to NG. It's money, but you see, that's what you. So this is what. So this is where people don't get. The tithe paying is not for the church. It does help the church, like it does something for the church and everything. But the blessing does not come from the church.
It comes from
God. So if He receives your offering, then you are blessed. But there are offerings that God really don't receive sometimes, based on. And sometimes say the cash na. But then you be behind the say hey, like let's say, like I'm saying, it would have helped. It would make your work easy. You wouldn't have to stress out a lot. But it's not stopping what is supposed to be happening, and it's happening. So you could have said that, okay. So what if you receive that and it rather messes more for you than it would have done good for you? What would you do? You see, so it's just one of those things.
Joe, Damascene, Mankai, where exactly or who exactly? But when you read the Bible, there's a story of a prophet. Or what I show you. There was a purpose for it.
Good. So this is the thing. If you read that scripture carefully, God told him to. It was an instruction. So this is the thing. When you're told to do something by God, then He being all-knowing, He knows the end from what He's asking to.
What is that?
Maybe at that particular point, people may disagree with you. People will say what they have to say. But if it's part of God's plan, the end will speak for itself. You will see that things will turn out in a certain way that people would then realize, oh, and whatever He wanted to show or teach the people, He would have done it.
He would have done it.
But in this case, I haven't heard. You know, certain questions they ask you, say, if I hear from Him to
so if God says take it,
if He says take it, He said I'll take it. But not until then, the rules apply. It's not.
No, one person will pay the brain a wally brew.
But that's the other thing. It gives us hard work, no offense. But and you say a brain it's only sooner. But say yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We finish we do everything we have to. I mean, who would say? And over the years, and this is the 10th year, there are people who are getting the sponsors, but they couldn't even last for 2 years. Do you understand? So it is important, like I'm saying. Don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing shades into it, but there are people who have received it and couldn't even continue. So sometimes it's up to the people that give it to see ahead from what they are sometimes looking at that makes them pull back.
Joe, I've had quite a number of gospel acts in the studio.
Okay.
A lot. And I'd say out of the lot, about 90% was Shasi feature for it.
Okay.
When you talk about their management and all that, it goes down to Wana Sofu. Do you think the church has played a role in the gospel industry in terms of Mosima or the way how to even charge for events, which events to accept and all that? Has the church actually played a role in it?
The church has. I mean, the church you belongs to is where you're grounded, your teachings you've received, your, you know, definitely we're working with the Word of God, but definitely you have a head who teaches you certain things, helps you through certain things, shows you the revelations they also receive out of the Word. Sometimes some of them father you, not some, because you're fathered by the heads and all that. So there's an influence there as well. And so, and there, you can't take it away.
Without.
No, you can't take it away. Because most of the time, most people, before they become who they are now, all went through the church, at least if nothing at all. The first audience that received what they carried was the church they were, or the church they belonged to. That's where the first audience, and sometimes even it was from the same church that some people may have encouraged you. I mean, I think my very first major recording, I had the support from a church member.
Okay.
You understand? So you can't do away without it.
You can't do away without
No.
it. Intimately, he decided I'm a gospel artist. Now, man, I can do it.
No, you can't. That's not what I'm saying. You can't. But it's a longer route than when you belong to it. And in addition to that, one of the reasons even this is important, apart from all other reasons, is you need guidance at a point. Sometimes you see how when you're doing well, everything is working for you, like you're going up and everything, character changes, things happen. And it happens to everybody, no matter who you are. Because you start getting exposed to certain things and certain places, and all of a sudden you see that your perception about certain things will start changing. And if you're not careful, sometimes it affects
you.
If you don't have someone who you account to, if you're not careful, sometimes at a point nobody will be able to talk to you. But sometimes you don't realize that you're going off. But it will take people you respect and you honor or submit to, who sometimes can see and call you to order. You need that. If not, at a point...
Joe, gospel acts being called to order by people,
leadership, yes.
Yeah, the leadership they are under. Gradually, still again, we've had people on the show, or a gospel act, or we train us or bana wa boniti or bana so why jerry so why Pae Mu and shade so a shackle so na pem no die ni trimu and shade and when you ask her wana asama what can ye
it's about the heart
and it helps draw people in now as a gospel artist no or there are more concerned about your looks drawing people in. The my emiti, my jeans are oyetete, Obama obiso jeans oyetete. Won't confuse the word of God.
I think it's not black and white. Somebody will say, "Oh, it's not right," but sometimes if you happen to speak to the people, you will understand their reason of doing it. I always say that sometimes the person may decide to do it. It's a matter of time. Growth has a way that it takes a toll on you. You would realize, because you see, the more of God's word you know, the more you'd realize that some things are not really necessary. It's not written in the Bible that it's a sin. No. Do you understand? There's nowhere that says that if you do that, it's a sin anyway.
Okay.
But at the same time, sometimes it doesn't really sit right. That's all. There's society where you live. And someone says, okay, I don't live for the society, but there are places you want to go, it may not permit you. Or like it may not that they won't permit you there, but it gets perceptions out of you, certain things. And so I feel like the more the person grows in God, they will understand it's not necessary. That's all I'm saying.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
So
but sometimes
they're
that's
not
what the person...
grown in God yet.
No, I'm saying the more
they grow,
you'd realize the necessity of some of these things. But like I'm saying, if that's what you want to do...
But Joe, I wish I said that don't still, what is that?
I know, like Obian and like, and also upbringings. There are lots that contribute to these things. That's the reason I'm saying I'm not quick to jump on people over those kind of things. The least you can do is work on their hearts, share with them, bring their minds to certain things to see maybe, because some of the places you stand, Charlie, it won't, it won't work. I mean, there are places it won't work.
It won't work.
That's what I can tell you.
Imagine aging a stage to him now a rasta.
Me?
No.
Oh, I'll look funny, Papa. I'll look very funny.
So, when you were talking, what about video, no? I think we did a discussion on your video 3 days ago.
Okay.
The new one. And I hear the concept behind the video.
Okay.
Joe, video no concept on your body. Ibisi, I mean, the retreat. Something like you guys have met and you are worshiping God. Something.
I think
like
it was more of we wanted a small setting.
Okay.
And in addition to that, we wanted something that looks a bit rusty.
Okay.
So we tried to see if we could get like a warehouse setting or something. We didn't. So this is a studio, but we created that whole like concept. So all the stuff you see, the scaffolds, the flight cases, the trusses and chains and all those things, we put all there. So they're all props, literally. So even the scaffolds are all props. So normally, if you know the studio, it's a clean, empty studio.
It's a big space.
Yes, it's not that big though, but it's a very clean, empty space. So then, when you come there, you can use it the way you want. So that was actually what the concept was.
Joe, at this point, Uncle, for where bash gospel act today, gospel act open video wa waye pepe. If you are any show, which I not or die any video. Where you prepare for when you scar on with the butcher video.
Okay.
Now answer the reality kakri.
Do you know how expensive this is?
Do you cost wine?
No, I can't say, but do you know?
See, I don't know to cost wine.
Because this is okay. So this is the mistake that most, excuse me to say, analysts and stuff sometimes they. I don't know whether sometimes they do understand. You see, every equipment there is expensive. Like you bring them, so you rent them.
So you rented. Trust is not know when you rent.
You will rent them.
Okay.
Like, in fact, you have to pay for even the scaffold, even though it's props. Do you know how much scaffold now costs to rent? You rent them, you bring the trusses, you bring the flight cases. The air crane say they literally had to rent a truck, take it somewhere, and carry the flight cases just to make it look like a warehouse. All these things were props. We just put them there, we finish, we take them out. Everything else that you see there, like, so before the equipment, and then the video shoot itself. But there were lights too. So if I wanted to do like a music video, not to say, I mean, normally music videos will get you maybe the whole setting, you can do just one video with it. And if you want to do more, you have to pay again and do a different setting to do like a second video. But the only advantage to these kind of videos is that you get to shoot all the songs with the same set. That's the only difference. Okay. Yeah, but if anybody tells you this is cheap, then they don't know their work.
I'm budget and budget.
They want me to mention the budget. Oh no, you don't say those kind of things.
Then one can. A secular act to do a video. No, I can't. I spent $50,000. I spent $20,000. Then a gospel artist, no one wasn't want to manka.
It's not necessary. What is the whole agenda in quoting the figures?
Often
you want people to know that your video is expensive.
No, it gives people, but like to them, most of my Miss Gospel acts, why you pay? Because they don't pay. That is the perception. So you see,
you're very confident in that, like
that is the perception. I want to actually hear the trust is not so and you rented.
So the thing is this, it's a perception. I cannot like be upset with you over your perception. Sometimes it's some perceptions. Not you. But some perceptions are influenced by ignorance most of the time. Sometimes I've sat down and listened and watched some. So because if the person knew what goes into this, they won't say. And this, you see, because it's a live session, first of all, you have to set up sometimes days before the event. So if you are doing at a particular studio, you have to pay for the studio for days. Come set up, get people to come there, do sound check. Do all those things. You have to pay every musician on the thing. You have to pay the lighting people. You have to pay projections. You have to pay.
So what you're saying is this is even more expensive.
That's what I mean by unima. If you see them do some of these, it's not about doing the regular ones. They're easy. See, when you're doing a music video shoot, most of the time you use one camera.
This is about 8.
It was actually slightly more. So imagine, let's say for the better language, it was 8 cameras. So I'm using 8 cameras. Use 1 camera for a video shoot. And so you still think that we are Pepe?
Then you are not Pepe, but a lot of you people are Pepe. May you do if you Pepe.
It's so sad how sometimes some of those statements, and I've said it time without number. People are working hard. People are putting a lot. But sometimes out of other people's opinion, they just splash their opinions on people. Like without even knowing what goes into what they do. It's so sad. So I can, like all these, if I
Matase. Joe, my young Kado should do Sunday. Yeah, we're in fast.
Perez Chapel. So Sunday is at the Perez Chapel at 5 p.m. By 5 p.m. gates are open. I think between 4 to 5 we'll be having like some red carpet experiences, Nazi.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we want to make it nice, and then by 5 p.m. gates are open for the event.
Okay.
It's not just going to be myself. Like there's Nathaniel Bassi coming from Nigeria.
Oh.
There's Tukozo coming from South Africa. And then I think Dinah is also coming. Dinah obviously I can say Dinah is coming from the UK. And me too, I'm coming from the United States of Accra. And I'm just joking. So it's all of us together coming to make this experience an amazing one. My team is also going to be there. And so tickets are going for 60 Ghana Cedi single. We made it as cheap as possible so everybody can afford
60
it.
60 cedis.
60 single tickets, 100
VIP. Double 100.
Double 100.
Not single, yeah.
Single is 60.
Na VIP.
VIP 150.
150.
Yes.
VIP no buy them and be there come on.
Yeah, so there's a whole VIP lounge, refreshments, all those things.
Oh, okay.
Like good sitting, all those, and it doesn't mean that others won't get good sitting, but you know what when you come to those events, you know how we do it.
I'm ticket too. I've invited myself.
5 p.m. on Sunday.
5 p.m. on Sunday.
At the Press
So your tickets are going for?
You should get tickets at Airport Shell, Bachona Total, Hatcho Shell, there's someone Shell. I'm sure we will. And then Dere shops. Or you can also get tickets on our website, www.joemettlemusic.com. www.joemettlemusic.com. If you happen to be outside the country or maybe outside Accra and you can't join us physically, you should be able to get tickets, virtual tickets on our site as well. And then
that's the Joe Mettle.
www.joemettlemusic.com, and you should be able to get virtual tickets.
Before we go, what websites? And the last time me check it, you sell your songs on your website.
Yes. So so there are links to be able to even get to the online stores and all that we have.
I think
it's more of like putting the things at places people can get access to.
But they are buying it.
They are.
And what can you scan a
program here?
And my avenues because I'm scared Thank you so much for coming,
Joe. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Questions are amount for send them no. Samaka de mi bisa Joe ni nyala. Conversation ni the bopone china. Yenya mpone. Questions ni bi wo ho a muntu mi bisa. Yes, question bi wo ho no nyipa bi na osi mi bisa Joe on the mi bisa. Joe Pocho sisi I no manage you.
Sisi I have a more or less like a PA that's working on stuff, but since I haven't gotten, I don't have a manager. No.
MP manager.
No. I think I'm just putting a few things together first before.
But you have a few things.
I say.
I have a few things.
Oh no, myself like preparing some few things inside before I will have to work with another manager. So for now I'm not working with a manager. I'm just working with more like a administrator and personal assistant, those two for now.
And see, after you are done with the things you're putting together and you are open to work with a manager.
I don't have a manager in Ghana.
Okay.
But I have management in other parts of the world.
In other parts of the world?
Yeah, I have a manager in the US, I have a manager in the UK, and I have a manager in SA.
But Ghana, that's only?
Ghana, I'm mini manager. So if I say it like that, because I have a manager in the US who handles all our events in the States and in Canada.
Okay.
And then in the UK too, I have a manager there.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Ghana, when you think it is time to have a manager
it's not
again,
about time. It's
are
just
you open to just anybody to manage?
No. That's the reason why I'm still prepping it up. So I can't just choose anyone. Both.
That's on.
But the person needs to, and that's what I mean, both. So the person needs to understand the work too. You see, there's a lot that goes into it, and sometimes I feel like there are people who don't get it. So it becomes a whole back and forth. So I want to choose it right.
Unfortunately, on Joe Mettle, me Joe Mettle manager. I'm my scotch menu. I do charge you fine. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.